Thank you for the reminder nonetheless. Nice. So, muy buenas noches a todos. Buenas, 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 buenas. Nice. So let's start off with an announcement, guys. For the persons in YouTube land, for the persons on Zoom land that are joining us live for more interaction, welcome, welcome, welcome to one and all. And we thank God for life today. We thank God for small mercies because we have arrived at our 10th and final session of YouTube Spanish lessons live. Free Csec Spanish lessons on YouTube. Now, many of you all in the Zoom chat expressed that it's your first class, actually. But this is the 10th week of classes, and it's a 10-week program we put together. No need to cry, Marcia, no need to cry. It's a 10-week program, but nonetheless, I have recognized the need. And we will continue to work. We will continue to work. We'll continue to work. We'll take a little break. I'll take out 2 weeks. But my plan is from April, we're back at it. Right? This is news for everybody. Even my wonderful assistant, the most reliable person in the earth. Where is she? Angeli. So persons that in the Discord chat, you may have been seeing postings by Angeli, etc. Right? She's my wonderful assistant, and she has been the reason that we have been, yes, big up Angeli in a huge way too, right? So I'm making a new announcement. April, we will take a 2 weeks break, and we will be doing it a bit differently in April. Differently because, so we're looking at like the 8th of April thereabouts to resume, right? We'll be doing it different in April because what we'll be doing instead is something way more interactive. Instead of the slides and stuff, we will organize things in such a way where you can say, persons can say, all right, I need assistance in this specific topic. I want you to teach on this specific topic or do this specific past paper. And we'll do it like that. Yes, it will still be free, Lionel. It's on YouTube. Right? Good evening, Azaria. Yes, I seen Azaria with the flames in the chat. So welcome, Azaria. Right? There were some persons you may have seen me put up a post before. Big ones, big ones, big ones, big ones, big ones. We have a course that is starting in April as well. The Monday and Tuesday of the holiday, that is the 3rd and the 4th of April. We have just about 5 or 4 more spaces. We have a handful of spaces literally. So if it is you're interested in signing up for that, by all means you can do that. What is the difference between these free YouTube classes and big ones, which is our workshop? The difference is this, right? Over the years, you may have seen this ad where I spoke about it. I am quite fortunate because many persons may not believe it, but I'm only a teacher for the past 6 years. Last year, the 10th of October, I made 6 years in a teaching service. I never did any kind of teaching job before that. I worked many other jobs, but never teaching. But one of the reasons that I actually came into teaching is because I realized that I'm extremely passionate about Spanish. I would have worked in a job for about 2.5 years where I was using Spanish every single day. And I realized, hey, I love this type of environment where I'm interacting with the language, with the culture every single day. I left that job for financial reasons, family and stuff anyway. I left that job and moved to other jobs that were paying me better, but it had absolutely nothing to do with Spanish. And one of the things that I quickly learned was that I really love working in an environment where I can pursue my passion, which is Spanish language and culture. So for me, the natural progression was to go into teaching because I could not only pursue it, but I could also share that passion with other persons. And basically, in my passion and my diligence towards the language over those 6 years, I have been able to achieve success right off the bat. You know, they say when you're living in your purpose, etc., you'll see that sort of success. So I believe this is part of my purpose in life, and I've been fortunate enough to have every single year since then at least one of my students making the merit list for Csec, either Csec Spanish or Cape Spanish, or at least one of my students gaining a foreign language scholarship as a result of my me helping them. And I like to say me helping them because I could, at the end of the day, my name is not on the result script, etc. And the student has to put in the work. I'm not a wizard or a magician. I'm just extremely passionate, and I am extremely detail oriented. And as a result of those two things, I believe that I've been able to impart the knowledge to my students that would have helped them gain that sort of success in the language. And when I say these accolades that some of my students have won, is not just a case of, it's not only persons that in lessons with me, because I understand that being in a lessons class, many times it's not just the lessons teacher that may help guide you to success, but it's the mix of the lessons teacher and your in-school teacher, and those information coming from both places that help you. But in the majority, especially when it comes to Form 6 Spanish, the majority of the cases, the success that I've gotten from students have been many times students who are teaching school. And when I inquire in the moment and when I inquire after the moment, there have been persons who did not go to additional lessons, but were relying strictly on my tutoring, and they were able to go on and win foreign language scholarships, get merit list placing in Csec. So it has been a ride, but it has been an enjoyable ride nonetheless, being able to share my passion with my students and live vicariously in such a way that I can see them living from success to success and using some of the things to assist them, yeah? So, Big Ones Workshop is basically a compilation of that success I would have been able to get and the very specific details to know, oh, all right, we do this year because we're trying to get a grade 1, we're trying to get you on a merit list, etc. Boom. We able to get that. I, being the type of individual I am, let me deep dive some more and let me see if it is I could even improve on those specific tips I gave you, and let me improve on specific things. And time and again it has worked. Right now what is coming to mind is the most recent one as well. A guy, he did not win a scholarship. He got all ones in Cape, but he did not win a scholarship. But in my mind, he's one of the few persons that was extremely coachable, or he was more coachable than most persons, and I've seen him succeed to great lengths in Spanish, from getting his first class honors degree in Spanish to now he is working in an embassy. And even though he may not have had the specific qualifications in other areas outside of Spanish, he was still able to land the job, etc. And it's always, as I say, it's always wonderful to go back and speak with your students and realize, as I say, live vicariously, live through them, their successes, and feel a sense of pride and that sense of achievement, even after they went on and leave me, right? So enough small chat from me. I hope I wasn't boring you too much. Saying all of that to say, Big Ones Workshop is some more exclusive things that I would have noticed over the years, that I would have experimented with, and I was able to get success over the years through. And I'm basically packaging this information and putting it in the form of a workshop. So it is not a substitute for you doing your hard work. It is not a crash course for you, all the things that you wasn't doing in the past 9 months or so in preparation for CXC, to come and plug it into your brain like a flash drive and boom, poof, you know automatically. I am not giving any false guarantees, but the guarantee that I can give, is that, right? That this will be the stuff to push you over the edge after you have been given your all. And it's for that specific reason why I started this session, these free classes, that is basically a review of the CXC syllabus. I started it since January, because I recognize and I understand that it's not a overnight fix, but it has to be work done over a period of time. The cost of the workshop is $300, and that cost has expired last week Friday, basically. But if anybody here is interested, I will keep that price at $300, right? So if you give me a name, if it is interested and you're signing up for that workshop, I will freeze the price at $300 for you. It's a 2-day workshop, 3 hours of class per day, Monday, Tuesday, and in addition to the information, I will be giving you takeaway stuff, right? There's a booklet that I comprised already and some others that I'm working on, a booklet to help you for the oral exams. I know that there are other booklets out there on the market. I can safely say and confidently say that mine gives more detail because it works on every single aspect that you need to work on for the oral exam, and it is designed in such a way where you can use it as a self-study guide or you can use it along with a teacher or a friend, etc. Right? It's not just about answering the questions for the guided conversation. It gives you practical exercises to improve your pronunciation. It gives you a breakdown of what the pronunciation should sound like. And after you get those information, you're getting things to put it into practice, etc. Good evening, Joel, right?
Good evening, sir.
Whenever I see you trying to sign, you know, I automatically look out to see would she remember to take off a camera today? Right? Every week without fail. Oh my gosh, and I'm looking at it again on on YouTube. Nice. So without further ado, it is 7:30. Vamos a comenzar. Let's begin. If you're interested, no problem. If you're interested, just send a message. Yes, Lionel, I still haven't cleaned up. Let me say it before you do. Just send on the chat. You will see the on the chat. You will see the on the Zoom chat. You will and on the YouTube chat. You'll see the link to sign up for the workshop. Right? As I say, we're not going more than 20. We're not looking for quantity. We're looking for quality. Right? Quality. So let's begin. Vamos a repasar hoy. Hoy es una clase de repaso de vocabulario. Porque yo sé que hay muchas personas que luchan con los tiempos verbales. Just a reminder, the workshop times are 2 to 5 on Monday the 3rd and on Tuesday the 4th of April. 2 to 5 p.m., 3-hour sessions. Right? So let's go. It's a review class. We're going to review key grammar, key tenses that many times students forget, right? For the purposes of the Csec Spanish examination, there are specific tenses that students need to know, right? And these are the simple present tense, the present continuous tense, or we call these the progressive tenses because it's really the present and the past continuous tenses, right? The imperfect tense, the preterite tense, present perfect tense, the pluperfect or past perfect tense, the conditional tense, the future tense. These are the tenses. A tense simply indicates to us, let me put it like this. The word for tense in Spanish is tiempo. But the word tiempo has another meaning. Anybody knows what tiempo means in Spanish?
Time.
Time.
And temperature.
Well, not really temperature, but weather, right? Tiempo means time, and how we say tense in Spanish is el tiempo. So, los tiempos verbales. These are the verb tenses in Spanish. These are the main ones we need to know. And the fact that it's a tense means to us that the action absolutely takes place, took place, will take place, etc. There's certainty about the fulfillment or the execution of the action, whether it is speaking, thinking, dreaming, hiking, running, etc. Right? Whether it be in the present, whether it be currently happening in the present time, whether it be something that used to happen, something that happened, something that has happened, etc. Right? So the tenses indicate to us that it's absolutely sure that the action took place in some specific time period. These are the main tenses, right? And the reason why I'm stressing on this so much is because there's a differentiation in Spanish when you're talking about tenses and moods. And when we will do a quick review of the subjunctive, you'll see what I mean by mood, right? Infinitives. Before we move any further with verbs in Spanish, we need to know the whole concept of infinitives, right? So many different explanations or definitions of the infinitive. The infinitive could be described as the basic form of the verb. We know a verb as an action word. If it's an action, somebody has to perform the action. But the infinitive is how the verb looks, the format it takes before a person, thing, animal, etc. performs the action, right? So the infinitive is the basic form of the verb. We know the infinitive in English because it has the preposition to in front. So to sing, cantar, bailar, to dance, comer, etc. While in English, we know that the verb is in the basic or infinitive form by the presence of the word to. In Spanish, we know it's in the infinitive form because it ends in specific letters, namely AR, ER, or IR. Once we see a word ending in those letters, AR, ER, or IR in Spanish, that means it's a verb in the infinitive, right? But in order to know about verbs, we need to also know about subject pronouns. Because as we say, infinitive is the basic form, nobody performed the action yet. Once we move into to somebody performing the action, that is where we speak about the subject pronouns, the person or thing that does the action of the verb. In English, we know them as I, you, he, she, it, we, they. In Spanish, yo, tú, usted, ustedes, these are called the polite forms, singular and plural. Él, he, ella, she, nosotros, nosotras, we, ellos, ellas, they. Buenas noches, Josué. Josué, prende el micrófono, por favor. Can you put on your microphone? Good evening, Josué.
Oh, yeah, good night, sir.
Oh, this is somebody new.
No, sir.
Oh, this is Vidal.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. The other Josue, the other Joshua, is a student in my class in school. And I believe I told him once that Josue is how we say Joshua in Spanish. So I automatically thought that was him. Josue.
Yeah.
You're here as Joshua. Cool. Yeah? So let's continue. So a little bit of practice. Replace the underlying nouns with the correct subject pronoun. Interactive, guys. This is where you all come in. Replacing the underlying nouns with the correct subject pronoun. What will we replace Maria with? Remember, all of this is revision.
Ella.
Ella, excellent. Pedro canta en voz alta. Pedro sings loudly. What would we replace Pedro with?
Él.
Él with an accent on the E. Don't forget that. If you leave out the accent, it's a different word. Pedro sings loudly. Nice. María y Pedro cantan en voz alta. What would we replace María y Pedro with?
Ellos.
Ellos, excellent. And finally, María y Elena.
Ellas.
Ellas. So in other words, ellos we use to mean they when it is the subject is two males, well, more than one male, or mix of male and female. Ellas when they're females only. Similarly with nosotros, that we could be referring to a group of males and females and yourself. But when we say nosotras, it's a group of females, and the I in the nosotros, because we is always somebody and I, right? So that I and nosotras, would always be a woman, right? A female. Jaime y yo will be
Nosotros.
nosotros, unless the yo is a lady, a young lady, right? Or a woman. Young, old, in between, etc. Right? So here we have the responses. I thought I changed this ill. My God, okay. I thought I'd put the accent over it because I forgot it the first time. Nice. So continue in the present tense, and I'm moving quickly because this is all revision for us, right? The present tense indicates that an action takes place either habitually or right now. I repeat. The present tense in Spanish indicates one out of two things. Thank you for your responses in the chat, Azaria. The present tense indicates a habitual current action. For example, every Sunday afternoon I visit my grandmother. Or it could refer to an action that is actually right now taking place. Mr. Weeks teaches his class on YouTube. Nice? And as we know, we met before, AR, ER, IR verbs. In order to change the verb, and many students make this error, they might put the subject pronoun and then leave it as cantar or baby, etc. But we need to remember, actually, sometimes it's good to put the subject pronoun just to remind yourself, I need to change that ending. So guys, be careful of that, right? Yo canto, tú cantas, ella canta, nosotros cantamos, etc., right? So remember the endings. They need to change depending on who is doing the action. Depending on who is performing the action of the verb, we change the AR, the ER, or the IR to something new. AR verbs, o, as, a, amos, an. ER, o, es, e, amos, in. IR, o, es, e, imos, in. And we could notice, anybody noticing any similarities or differences between the three? Anybody except one of my students from in school? The conjugations, the endings, any similarities or differences?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, Kimani. Kimani first, then
Yes.
Josue.
Yes.
So for IR, the nosotros line has I, and for the ER, and then the nosotros line has E.
Right. So, yes, I'm segregating earlier. Jordina says yo in the chat. What is yo? The observation Kimani made is that there are differences in the ER and IR verbs in the nosotros form. ER verbs endings in the present tense amos, IR verbs endings in the present tense emos. We also see, and as Chloe highlighted, that all verbs AR, ER, and IR, once they are regular in Spanish, they have the same ending. O, canto from cantar, bebo from beber, ER verb, vivo from vivir, IR verb. Excellent. Kimani pointed out a difference, but there's a huge similarity between the ER and IR verbs. Josue, do you want to highlight that similarity?
Say, can you repeat, please?
Joshua Vidal. Kimani highlighted the fact that with ER verbs and IR verbs, there's a difference in the nosotros form. ER verbs, the ending is amos, EMOS. IR verbs, the ending is emos, IMOS. Right? So that's a difference. I'm calling out people whole government name. Can you notice a similarity between the ER and IR verbs though?
Yes, sir. For the AR verbs, you have like A for the ending, and for ER and IR, you have E as part of the ending.
No, what I'm saying is between ER and IR, we're not including AR verbs in this. Any similarities between the ER and IR verbs? Kimani pointed out a difference.
The endings are same.
Shaquan just huffing men for not eating out here.
Yeah, take it slow.
Well, it's not easy. The endings are the same for the ER and IR verbs except for the nosotros form. Don't worry, I won't leak any addresses, right? Because I don't know them. Nice. So we continuing. We have it broken down here in a simpler form, right? Remember, all these things are being given to you afterwards. Nice. In the WhatsApp group as well as in the Discord group, right? I lying about what? Message that what are you talking about in the chat? I don't know. So we need to pay attention to these extremely common and popular, always popping up irregular verbs. Ser, estar, ir, dar, hacer, poner, tener, venir, decir. Could we do a rapid fire segment whereby somebody volunteers and they just conjugate the whole verb? Wow. Okay. Joshua, I can't remember that. My brain is old. But anybody who want to volunteer to conjugate as quickly as possible? So, sir, you go through brrr, and you tell me the whole conjugation quick. Subject pronoun included or not, up to you. Anybody want to try it? The irregular verbs? Don't be shy, guys. Wrong answers are welcome. Zachariah, you want to start with sir?
Yes, sir.
Let's go. Ready, set, go.
Soy es somos son.
Jordan, you'll say you do the next one. Right ahead. Estar.
Estoy, estás, estamos, están.
Nice. Who's next? Who's next? Who's next? Who's next? Rapid fire. You fire not rapid enough. Who?
Boy, bas, ba, vamos, van.
Excellent, Kimani. Them fellas and them pin them. You're a shame today, boy. Girls? Joshua Cummins is nominated for Dar. Joshua. Just think, boy. Was that? No. It's not no picking and choosing. Yeah, come on. Somebody for Dar. Aha. People doubting themselves for the Dar, boy. So tell me, who wants to do Dar? Without looking it up first.
Damos da están.
Marcia. What's going on, Marcia? Marcia went Spain and come back in Puerto Rico in the Caribbean for me there. Right? Excellent. Doy das da, damos da están. She even gave us the vosotros form. Nice? Excellent. Yes, you heard of vosotros. That's correct. Right? So Marcia came in just to show you all, don't get ahead of yourself, guys. We ladies know our things here too. Don't mind all the answer first. So we move into hacer.
Hago, hace, hacemos, hacen.
Excellent. What about poner? Genesis in the chat, puedo, puedes, puede, podemos, pueden. After randomly call, man, I don't want to do people that. Some persons may not be comfortable with being put on the spot like that. So I'm giving you all the chance to, right? If it was my personal class, well then yeah, but this has been on the World Wide Web. I ain't trying to put anybody in a situation where it is they don't feel comfortable, man. So I'm seeing a lot of persons joining. Aha, where we reach now? Poner. No, we do poner. Oh shucks, no.
Oh,
Genesis, yes. Genesis did poder. Poder means to be able to. Who wants to do poner instead?
Pongo, pones, pone, ponemos, ponen.
Nice. What about tener?
Tengo, tienes, tiene, tenemos, tienen.
good. Man, catch my lacking, boy. Hey.
You're sticking my Shaquan, boy. Eh? Who's sticking now? Shaquan, do the next one. Venir. I put you on the spot now, boy.
I don't know venir like that, saying. I'm gonna try this year.
Try this here now. We'll come back to venir.
This year is. This year. Tío, tías, tía.
Pause there, Shaquan.
Wrong.
Joel, don't be talking to my students, girl. I'm to you, girl.
If you use them teacher and down, he say, Lord have mercy.
Why this child so bad? Eh? Why is she out here doing me personally? Okay, right. So this here is a bit different. We call that a G. Those G irregular verbs. Because in the yo form.
Digo, dices, dice, decimos, dices, dicen.
Nice. Look,
Right. Nice. Who was that? A female? Because I find was big and females plenty now. And that male come and make that mistake. So I had to point it out.
No problem, miss. I stand corrected in my seat. Right? I'm seated, but I stand corrected. You'll see now bias, sorry, fellas. I stop talking, yes? No, but seriously, this here is one of those G irregular verbs, right? In the present tense, in the yo form, it's irregular. Because we got random G. So digo, similarly to tener, tengo. similarly to caer, caigo, etc., right? But it's not only irregular in the yo form, it's also irregular, well, it's radical changing. So vienes, viene, venimos, vienen, right? Rel talking the chat, boy. Wait, sir. I feel like I had to log the chat and all the way. And find. We do venir already? Vengo, vienes, viene, venimos, vienen. Right. Ser estar to be. Ir. What does ir mean? Anybody? Joel, what does ir mean, Joel?
What?
What does ir mean?
To go.
Nice, nice. Put you on the spot, but it's ready for action.
Yeah. You can't do that. Do one of your students, the student that make the mistake, specifically speaking.
No, I don't teach Chukwan in my school. I'm not disowning him, but I just saying I don't teach him in my school. I realize you're mixing them up now. Chukwan, what school you go to?
I go to private school, sir.
All right, see, it's a private school. We don't go further than that, right? So dar to go, hacer to make or to do, poner to put out a place, tener.
To have.
Yeah. Guys, on a real though, let we limit the banter in the chat, right? The small talk and stuff, right? Because I'm trying to I'm multitasking here. So unless it's necessary, message in the chat, or we might have to disable the chat function. No, because I've seen 1100 messages and I realized it was something else now, right? So where did I reach? I said tener to have, venir to come, this year to say or to tell. And then we have ser and estar and the differences. We have some examples here. Ser is usually used for descriptions, right? It's usually used for describing oneself, that sort of stuff, right? There was this thing that is Espanol con Vicky, or Spanish with Vicky on Instagram. I believe she's from Spain, but she has given a wonderful distinction between the two. You usually say it or describe a star by temporary things, not so much that it is temporary, you know, but it is more that it is conditions, like the condition or state of something. So for example, the condition of the state of being seated, we use estar, estoy sentado. The condition of the state of the weather in this current time, it is rainy, it is snowing, etc. In this season, etc. Right? So think of estar more like the condition or the state of something. Its condition or state is that it's located in this place. It is placed in this position, right? And ser is used more for like descriptions, etc. Right? This was a native speaker giving an explanation, and I loved it. So I've seen ser, what you do, estar, how you feel. I think estar is missing a mass, yeah? Right, another very important thing is the personal a. What is the personal a? It's a preposition that must follow the verb. By itself, it means to, but we need to place this preposition a after the verb whenever the thing that comes after the verb is a human being or an animal, specifically if it's a pet. If it's a general animal, nothing to do with you, you don't have to put the personal a. But if it's like a pet, we use the personal a. Your pet rabbit, your pet dog, your pet cat, etc. Right? So for example, I see my mother. Veo a mi madre. We need to put the personal a there because my mother is a human being. So the personal a comes after the verb, right? There's a rule in Spanish. When the object pronoun is a human being, we need to put the preposition a after the verb, right? El paciente llama al médico. The patient calls the doctor, right? El médico contracts and become al. Don't forget your personal a, ladies and gents, okay? Moving right along to the preterite tense. What is the preterite tense, guys? The preterite tense is the tense that we use in Spanish to I don't like to use the word describe, but to relate past completed actions. The preterite tense is used to relate past completed actions. In the vast majority of instances, we know or we are cued for the preterite tense to be used because there is a word that indicates a past completed action. And this word or phrase could be something like yesterday, el año pasado, last year, el mes pasado, last month, etc. There are usually some time expression that is used, and it indicates to us a period of time that has a beginning and an end. Yeah? So yesterday, ayer, a 24-hour period before the present time. El mes pasado, a specific month of the year. That specific month could have 28 days, it could have 30 days, it could have 31 days. But we know the specific time of a month and the previous instance before, right? So we have that, we have el año pasado, etc., right? So this is how we use the preterite tense. I want to stick in a note here because I don't think, if I remember correctly, I didn't have this included in the prepared slide. But sometimes we may not have an indication of a word or time expression like yesterday, last year, etc., but we may be required to use the preterite tense. So the preterite tense is also used for actions that indicate the beginning of a thing or the end of a thing, right? So if you want to say, I started a computer course in the past, right? Empecé, any verb or that indicates a starting or beginning, an end or ending of something, in the past, we use the preterite tense for that, right? And some things by their nature as well, it would tell us, well, yes, the preterite tense, because it could not be something that was happening on and on in the past. For example, I opened the door for my teacher that day. Or he opened the door for the teacher. The opening of a door is not an ongoing action in the past. We follow?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to repeat it because I'm going to give a contrast. The opening of a door is not an action that is ongoing in the past. Ongoing actions in the past, we use the imperfect tense. But it can be. It can be if it is you're saying something like, I open the door for my Spanish teacher every class. You understand? Well, the every kind already gives the indication of repeated action. So I guess that kind of debunks my initial thing. But I'm studying an instance where it was something that could be done in the past. So as the security guard, he opened the door. Or since he was a security guard, he opened the door, meaning that he opened the door for visitors. Opened the door. Although opening of the door, it could be a one-time thing that happens because we placing the verb in the context of somebody's job ongoing in the past. Every time it have a new visitor, open the door, close the door for them. Open the door, close the door. There may be exceptions like this, but the context have to be shown. We understand, and I kind of went a little high level there, right? I understand that. But do we understand? All right.
Yes, sir.
Anybody unsure of the example that I just used?
No, sir.
All right, let me make a quick pause because I was seeing some new names joining. So I want to just take a quick pause to hail out Jade Baran. Jade, good evening. Did I pronounce that properly? Jade. Buenas noches, Jade. Jade, can you hear me? I'm seeing the mic is unmuted, but I'm not hearing any sound. Who else? We had some Tacianna. Good evening, can you hear me? How do you pronounce your name?
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Tatiana.
Tatiana, I didn't want to butcher your name. So Tatiana, I'm hearing a Trini accent. That means you're joining us from Trinidad and Tobago. Which part of Trinidad are you hailing from?
Yes, the Carpichima, Waterloo Secondary.
Waterloo is in the building. We have a couple people from Waterloo. Nice. And I'm seeing Darren. Darren, where are you joining us from?
Takri, go ahead, sir.
All right. Where you going? Trinity East?
Nah, sir, Kersi.
Kersi as well. Welcome, Darren. He joining his schoolmate, Kimani. I'm seeing somebody's name Jay. Jay, where you joining us from? Jay.
Yes, sir. Sorry. Evening.
Hi, Jade.
Hi, sir. My mic is giving trouble.
I don't know if I'm hearing a bit of an accent. Am I or no?
I'm from Trinidad, so
Okay, nice. Where are you joining us from?
well, I'm from Couva East.
Secondary way, one of the best government secondary schools well, I'm curious if fellas might want to jump up and jump out themselves, but yeah, at least in Central. Right, so welcome. Where you heard about us from, Jade?
Actually Discord, sir.
Nice, excellent. I'm seeing a J as well. Welcome, Jade. And J, just the letter J. Come on, J. Somebody with the name J. Where are you joining us from? Jade, Darren from QRC. Alexa.
Hi, sir.
Where are you joining us from, Alexa? I was thinking of something corny to say, but didn't come up in time.
So I was here last week from Bishop's East.
Nice, nice, nice. CY, welcome back. CYNAN Fletcher. How do you pronounce the name?
Sign-on, sir.
Sign-on Fletcher with a deep voice. I didn't know. I wasn't sure what to expect. That kind of jumped me there. Well, where are you joining us from?
I'm joining from KRC as well.
Nice. So big up the KRC team. Big up the St. Mary's team. Big up the Waterloo team. Big up everybody, right? Nice. Jay.
So when you say big up everybody and you just say big up St. Mary, no, I don't like that, you know.
So tell me.
You gotta call all
I don't and I can't remember all the schools. What school you go again? Is Malik?
Right, well, don't remember none. Just say big up everybody and the whole.
No.
I don't like
how
how
Big up Joel. Right?
I know.
Big up Joel, right? Big up Joel. And anybody else, big up Shaquan. It might just be random. Big up Lionel. Lionel is not in Form 5, but big him up same way. Big up everybody.
Yeah, and you're calling no female name, no. I'm telling Neil and everybody else.
I didn't see her. I'm not seeing her actually. I big up Genesis because I've seen Genesis.
So you don't have to see it. Big shop one time.
Sorry, Lanil. Good night, Lanil. Lanil, good night.
It's threatening too.
Yeah, but right now I don't know. I'm just making sure now by Janil. I mean Lanil. Lanil.
Good night. Hi.
Good night. Lanil, I apologize for not bigging you up. I don't know if I should apologize to you or Joel, but I apologize in a way because apparently I don't get both up there.
No, she knows she's not here.
Miss Lady, not me and you, right? Let me go back to teaching my class. Good. Big up Nichelle in the YouTube chat one time. I think we have some connectivity issues there. My God. Angela, mute that chat and I'm sure. Big up Nichelle Robertson in the YouTube chat as well, right? So we pause for a cause. And we continuing, right, guys? So similarly, like we saw with the present tense verbs, with the preterite tense verbs, is specific endings as well. Nice. A, aste, o, amos, aron. This for the AR verbs. E, iste, io, imos, ieron. ER and IR verbs. ER and IR, same endings, right? Luckily for us, we get a lot of that as we come out of the present tense, right? So in the preterite tense, AR verbs have one set of endings. ER and IR, the same set of endings. Azaria, what going on, girl? I only see the messages coming through and then going. So we have el pretérito imperfecto, or the imperfect tense, right? So a native Spanish speaker will call it as el pretérito imperfecto, and they would call the normal preterite as we know it el pretérito indefinido. Nice? So we have the imperfect tense, and once again we're seeing shared endings for the ER and IR verbs, ia, ias, ia, iamos, ian. And then we're seeing one ending for AR verbs, aba, abas, aba, abamos, aban, right? For example, Marcos miraba televisión mientras comía. Marcos looked at television while he was eating. Nice, let me move faster. Boom! Into the meat of the matter now, the subjunctive mood. Anybody wants to explain to me the subjunctive mood in their own words, in Espanol?
Okay, sir. So in my own words, I think the subjunctive is used when you're requesting someone to do something.
Okay, requesting alone? Only for requests?
Still wanting and
Wishes too.
Wishes once. Sidoni, am I saying that correctly? Sidoni,
Yes, sir.
now you're seeing mood on the screen. I don't know if you heard the word mood before referring to subjunctive, but that first statement says that it's a mood and not a tense. Do you have any idea why we say that?
No, sir. I'm not sure.
All right. Anybody else wants to assist with that? Why do we call it a mood and not a tense? Marcia says in the chat doubts. We express doubts with it.
So because it never really expresses a certain time frame, more of a hypothetical situation.
Not a specific time frame of a hypothetical thing. Anybody else want to add to that? Thank you so far for everybody that has added to it. Sidoni, Marcia, Zachariah.
You're unsure about the outcome.
Nice. I don't know if you noticed that, but as you started to speak, Marcia typed the same thing in the chat. You are not sure the outcome. I like to explain subjunctive like this, right? It might be a kind of off comparison, but say what? Right? Thank you, Alexa. I see that right in the chat here. Think of this, right? Think of this. I like to draw this example when I'm teaching this in my classes. Your parents are multi-millionaires, right? Who I could call? Jordan.
Yes, sir.
Jordan, your parents are multi-millionaires.
No, sir.
No. I'm not talking about reality, Jordan. So Jordan, your parents are multi-millionaires. And before you even born, they have $10 million US put aside for your university education. We're not talking about whatever else you're doing before university, right? But for your university education, they have $10 million put aside because they want you to become a medical doctor. You follow?
Yes, sir.
It's an expensive field. They don't know how much the price will go up by then. It's not $10,000 at the time of when they had it saved, but they put it aside for you to make sure that you can become a medical doctor. Right?
Yes, sir.
Now, you performed well throughout your school life, your primary, secondary school, you excelled, right? And you're going to university to study medicine, just like what your parents saved for. What guarantee do your parents have that you will become a medical doctor after all of that time? After that money has been passed aside. So from your parents' perspective, everything has been put in place for you to become a medical doctor. Does that mean you would actually become a medical doctor?
No, it's a wish or want.
It is a desire that they're expressing. It is a wish they're expressing, but they are not fulfilling the wish themselves. So in other words, somebody outside of them have to make this wish come into a reality. Have to make it come to life. And generally, because it is expressing something that is not tangible, that we're not sure will happen, in other words, it's a mood, that is why we call the subjunctive in that way. There's no guarantee that the things in the subjunctive will come to pass. So there's a typical thing that we look at. So we see we have present, imperfect, and future subjunctive. To be honest, the most common ones used in speech and everyday life in Spanish is the present subjunctive and the imperfect or past subjunctive. The future subjunctive, hardly ever we see that. You may see it in literature, etc., from many, many, many years ago. But the most common ones is the imperfect and the present subjunctive. But generally, we see something happening with the subjunctive. Thanks again there, Jordan. With the subjunctive, that first verb, which is the parents acting or the parents expressing a wish, that first verb usually falls under a category of what we call weirdo. And it is a verb that expresses a wish of somebody, that expresses an emotion, a doubt, denial, an impersonal expression. And impersonal simply means that it is not specific to any one person, right? Es importante que, it is important that. Who is important? Not who, anybody, right? Es bueno que, it is good that. It is good for who? It is good for anybody, right? So that's why we call them impersonal expressions. We also use the subjunctive. The first verb in the subjunctive also expresses negation and doubt could come together, right? And then we have expressions like ojalá, I hope to God that, sin que, para que, cuando, etc. Mientras. Cuando, mientras, these verbs, when followed by the subjunctive, they're always projecting into the future, right? Él okay, cuando puedas que me llames. When you can, call me. Right? Cuando puedas que me llames. When you could, call me. Right? That is projecting into the future. I don't know if you'd ever be able to call me, right? So we may find some expressions like these as well. But the most important thing to know is that with the subjunctive, we have one verb that is expressing a wish, an emotion, a doubt, etc., and another verb or another subject expressing something differently, which is the subjunctive verb, right? And we tie the two together by K. So for example, my parents want that I study medicine, or my parents want me to study medicine. We have two subjects, sorry. My parents or they, I apologize guys, the sleep is getting worse. My parents, and you have my parents want and I study. And we join those two by K, by that, the relative pronoun K. So my parents want or my parents wish that I study medicine. Mis padres quieren que yo estudie la medicina. I'm going to say español, right? And, excuse me, we form the subjunctive simply. Once again, we're going back to the AR, ER, IR verbs, and we see something happening again. What do we see happening? We see it's almost like if the verbs switch their endings. But really and truly, what we do is that we go to the first person yo form of the verb, drop the ending, which we saw for regular verbs would always be O. The first person singular or the yo form of the verb in the present tense, drop the O or the ending, and add a new ending. So from trabajar, my parents want that I work in the family company. Mis padres quieren que yo trabaje en la compañía familiar. My parents want me to work in the family company. Mis padres quieren que yo trabaje en la compañía familiar. Nice. How do we go about getting that trabaje? Conjugate the verb trabajar in the normal present tense. Yo trabajo. yo form, we drop the O, and we add a new set of endings to get the subjunctive conjugation. Trabajé, trabajés, trabajé, trabajemos, trabajen. And this is important to realize. This is important to remember. The reason I'm saying this is important to remember is because many times I hear students simply saying, well, say they just switch around the endings for the subjunctive. You take the AR verbs and you give it an ER ending. You take the ER and IR verbs and give it an AR ending. It is not so simple. Instead, you need to remember that you go into the yo form of the verb. And this will be especially helpful when we reach the irregular verbs. So for example, tener, which is an ER verb, would usually take ER endings. But if we go to the yo form of tener, what do we get in the yo form of tener?
Bingo.
Tengo. When we drop the O, then we add the new A endings. Tenga, tengas, tenga, tengamos, tengan. So it's very important that we know the correct steps that we take to reach that conjugation in the subjunctive, right? Moving quickly with the present perfect tense. Think of the present perfect tense as this. The present perfect tense, we do this before, I believe, in one of these past sessions, but we usually use it when you want to talk about some action that was done in the recent past, but it still have consequences right now in present day. So yes, I have heard that story. I've heard that song before. He escuchado, he oído esta canción. He aprendido este tiempo verbal antes. I have learned this verb tense before, right? The present perfect tense. I still remember it in other words. That's how it still has consequences in the present time. And to form the present perfect tense, we take haber, which means to have, not as in to own something, but says it is an auxiliary verb. It means to have, and we conjugate it in the present tense. A, as, a, amos, an. And then we take the past participle or the ado or ido form of the verb, and we attach it to the conjugation of the haber. So I have sung, he cantado. You have sung, has cantado. He, she, it, you formal has or have sung, ha cantado. Hemos cantado, we have sung, etc. He aprendido, I have learned or learned. Has aprendido, you have learned or learned, etc. Right? And remember, when we're conjugating things in the present perfect tense, this ado, ido doesn't change depending on the person. So if it is Maria saying that she has sung in the choir before, Maria says, yo he cantado. It doesn't change because it's Maria, a female. He cantado. En el coro, sorry, right? I have sung in the choir, right? If it's a group of girls, it is Joelle and friends saying that we have learned this before. Joelle and her friends will say, hemos aprendido esta lección. So it does not change the ido ending to agree. Thanks for the reminder. It doesn't change the ido ending to agree with the gender of the person coming before. The perfect tense, that ado, ido, remains no matter who it is, no matter if it's more than one person's before. What changes is the haber, the a, as, a, amos, an. Gentle reminder of that. The pluperfect tense, or what we like to call the past perfect tense, is the past tense version of what we just saw, the present perfect. And it's the same thing we're doing, except that we're conjugating the verb haber differently. Había, habías, había, habíamos, habíais, habían. In other words, in otras palabras, the verb haber is conjugated in a form of the past tense, the imperfect tense here. Right? We following so far? I know I'm moving quickly, and it's because it's a revision and some of these things we did before. But please remember that these will be posted on YouTube afterwards, and you could take your time, you could go over, you could pause, you could rewind, etc. when it's on YouTube as well, right? Don't forget as well, if it is you're new to the session, you're not in any of the media platforms where we communicate, we have a Discord group, right, where daily materials are posted to help with your studies. And we have a WhatsApp group where if it is you prefer WhatsApp to Discord, that can also, you could receive the information via WhatsApp as well, right? I'm seeing it was posted in the Zoom chat, not in the Zoom, sorry, in the YouTube chat, and right now it is being posted in the Zoom chat. So Zoom on YouTube, you will see that piece of information if you want to join. Come on, right? We're going right down until we lie down, right down until exams we're going now, right? So, we're continuing. The pluperfect tense, pause. Right, you remember where we left off now. So we're back there. The pluperfect tense, another word for the pluperfect tense is the past perfect tense. And think of it as the past tense version of the present perfect tense. With the present perfect tense, we talk about an action that was done in the recent past, but it still has consequences in the present time. So I have learned the perfect tense before. He aprendido el tiempo perfecto antes. I've learned this before. The pluperfect or past perfect tense is something that happened before that. Había aprendido el pretérito y el imperfecto antes de haber aprendido, right? Antes del perfecto, el tiempo perfecto. So in other words, I'm smiling because I could go into something that could confuse you, but I try not to, right? We have the present perfect tense, which we saw here, boom, he cantado, he aprendido, etc. Done in the recent past, still having consequences now. I have learned this tense before. He aprendido este tiempo verbal antes. I have learned this verb tense before. He aprendido el tiempo perfecto antes. I've learned the perfect tense before. But before that, before you learn the perfect tense, you learn the preterite tense and the imperfect tense. So in other words, the pluperfect tense is to speak about something that was done or completed before another action was completed. So it's like we're going 2 steps back in the past. Había aprendido el tiempo imperfecto y el pretérito. Following? We following?
Sí. Yes, sir.
Good so far. It's a lot on it. So, could you give an example of that in English? He has completed his English homework just in time for supper. However, he had done a group project with some group members before completing his English homework. Does that answer your question, Zachariah? He has completed his English homework already. However, he had completed a group project before doing his English or his whatever homework I say. I can't remember right now. Nice? So we go now again. Future tense. When there are different ways to express future things in Spanish, right? One of the ways is with what we call the immediate future construction. We take the verb ir, which means to go in the present tense. We place after that the preposition a, and then we put the verb in the infinitive. The verb in the infinitive is the actual action that we're going to do. It literally translates to be going to do something. So mañana, tomorrow, voy a llamar a Juan. Tomorrow I'm going to call Juan. ¿Vas a comprar los pantalones? You going and buy the pants? Well, I seen it like a question. But in the example on the screen, you've seen it as a statement. You are going to buy the pants. Van a estudiar en la biblioteca. They are going to study in the library. Nothing is wrong with abusing. Yeah, what I like to tell students, right? Abuse it until you master it. And when you abuse it so much that you master it, take on a new challenge. Now you go to the simple future tense, what we like to call it, right? The simple future tense is leaving the verb in the infinitive and just adding a new ending. And no matter if it's an AR verb, an ER verb, an IR verb, same set of endings. E, as, a, hemos, an. E, as, a, hemos, an. Yo usaré Tú usarás. Él, ella, usted usará. Nosotros usaremos. Ustedes usarán. Ellos, ellas, ustedes usarán. Anybody here could explain why there's an accent over all the forms except the
Nosotros.
nosotros?
So because most of those endings exist in other tenses without the accent.
That's excellent. What else? So not to confuse it with the other tenses, right?
It already have stress on the E.
Or it already have stress on the what?
The E.
In amos.
Yeah.
Why is there already a stress in the E?
Because any vowels or S put stress on the second to last syllable.
When a word ends in the letters N, S, or vowel, naturally, unless it's against the rule, naturally the stress our tone on the second to last syllable, aka the penultimate syllable. So u, sar, a, mos. Mos is the last syllable, a is the second to last, so the stress already goes by usaremos. Whoa, Dashani, how you know that, girl? You learn that in school? Palabras agudas, palabras esdrújulas. On YouTube. I actually learned that in university. Right? Don't ask me to recite it. No, I can't remember the details. But there are different rules. The simplest way to express it is that when it ends in N, S, or vowel, you put the stress on the second to last syllable. But that does not count for the times when the stress falls on the last syllable. For example, verbs that end in ION, nación, colaboración, where the stress goes on the own. It does not count for those things. So there are actually rules. There are actually rules for all of them, yeah? But for the sake of CSEC Spanish, the most important thing is that we know that simple rule when it ends in N, S, or vowel. Right? Conditional tense is saying something you would do. Future tense is saying something you will do. Conditional tense is saying something you would do. Right? It's used to express would. And the reason why we say that is because usually there's some kind of condition that needs to be fulfilled before the action takes place. So in other words, we're certain that the action taking place, but it's taking place under this condition. Hence we call it the conditional tense. Right? I would go to the show if I have enough money. I would go to the show when I finish wash the wares. Right? Or I would go out with you when I finish wash the wares. I would travel the world if I have plenty money, millions of dollars, etc. Right? Si fuera presidente, ayudaría a los inmigrantes venezolanos. If I were the president, I would help Venezuelan migrants. Si fuera rica, compraría un coche nuevo. If I were rich, I would buy a new car. Right? The simple conditional tense simply add the ending to the infinitive, right? Whether AR, ER, or IR is the same ending. Ia, ias, ia, iamos, ian. And it's easy to want to confuse this with which tense? It could be easy to mix up this with which tense?
Imperfect.
The imperfect tense. But what is the difference between this and the imperfect, Zachariah?
For the conditional, you have to keep it in the infinitive, and the imperfect is only the IR verbs as ia, ias, ia.
Excellent. The conditional tense, you leave the infinitive, but the imperfect tense, only ER and IR verbs take these endings. Nice. We're almost to the end of our class today, guys. Object pronouns. Big up yourself. If Javier Thompson is seeing this, if it is... So one of my students in my class, he actually asked for to do a revision of this. So Monday, please God, we will be looking at this in my class as well. Personal lessons, that is, right? So we have the object pronouns. And the object of a sentence is the person or thing that receives the action of the verb. We have the subject performs or does the action, the verb is the action word, and the object receives the action. Ronaldinho kicked the ball. Subject is Ronaldinho. He is the person that is doing the action of kicking, right? And the ball receives the action of being kicked. The girl sang a ballad. The girl is the person that doing the action, singing. The thing that receives the action of being sung is the ballad, right? We understand? So similarly, how we saw that Maria could be replaced by Aya, and Maria y Jose could be replaced by Ellos, and Maria and Eva could be replaced by Ellas. The things that come after the verb can be replaced by object pronouns, right? And we have direct object pronouns, and we have indirect object pronouns. I love to illustrate the difference between the two like this. Before we go into what is on the screen there, I like to illustrate it like this. This is my personal example I love to use. I bought a bag for my mom. Well, again, nightmares, my students from school, nightmares of the sentence. I bought a bag for my mom. So I is the subject. Bought is what? What is bought in the sentence?
The verb.
The verb. And what tense is this verb in?
Past tense.
Preterite. Preterite. Third person. Singular. Or the he form. A bag. A bag is what?
Object.
Object.
But which object? Is it the direct or is it the indirect object?
Indirect.
First object or the direct object, right? It answers the question, and this is one way to figure out the difference between the two. Answers the question, who or what? That's what the direct object does, right? Answers the question, who or what. I bought who, I bought what? For my mom. That is now the indirect object. And what does the indirect object answer? Which question? For or to whom? Or for or to what? Let me change this slash here so that everything looks a little bit more coherent. Yes, that is very dark. Sorry about that slip there. Right, so in Spanish we will say, yo compré una cartera, is a handbag, para mi madre. I bought a bag for my mother. So how do we replace each one? Boom, boom, boom. We're leaving out the yo, right? Compre. Compre what? Para mi mama. You following so far, guys? I know I may be moving fast for some people. I encourage you to go and look at the tape after, right? So we're trying to replace una cartera. We're trying to replace that, a handbag, a purse. We're trying to replace that, right, with the object pronoun. We're trying to replace the what. So let's go back to our chart. The what in this case will be la cartera, which will be the feminine verb. We'll come back to this, right? The object pronoun which answers what or who will be me, which means me, te, you, lo, him, or refer to object things like inanimate objects that are masculine gender, like el libro, for example. La means her or it when it's speaking about inanimate objects or a animate object, a human being, a dog, a cat, etc. Nos means us. Os is the osotros form, and los las means them, depending on the gender, right? Me could also mean to me or for me. Te, to you, for you. Le, to her, to him. For her, for him. Nos, to us. Os, to you, for you. Les, to them, for them. We following?
Yes, sir.
Before we move forward, we have some examples here. Let's look at the examples here before we move back to the whiteboard, right? I love you. Te quiero. Quiero, I love. Te, you. Right? Use the who there. La tienes, do you have it? La here is referring to the homework. So la tienes, do you have it? Las veo, I see, veo, las, them, referring to the girls. What are we noticing here about the placement of the object pronouns? Yes, quiero is once, but it could sometimes mean idiomatically to love. It's grades, right? What I mean is different intensities. So querer you would use like for friends and stuff. I like to describe it like this, right? In a new relationship, but boy, we ain't reached that stage where we tell each other I love yet. I know there's children, right? So you will go through this one day. If you have gone through this already, don't answer. Don't want to know, right? I ain't supporting that. But in a new relationship, you ain't reached that stage where it's I love you yet, right? It's te quiero. You still need take care of. Yes, Tatiana. You still need take care of phase. You ain't reached the te amo stage yet, right? Te amo is a stronger sense of love, will be used like for how to end up that, Joshua?
Real far.
No, I'm not rocking with them teen relationships at all. Study all your book. I ain't rocking with it at all. Like, take care of each other. No te amo there. Friendly love. Right? Learn about relationships before you enter into relationships. I could stick in a little side note.
Let's see.
Yeah, sometimes I was talking to somebody about that, and I was like, yo, you know what's crazy about this life? Like, the older I get and the more I read, is the more I realize that so many different things are lies that they tell us. Like from money and finances, so many different things. And it's just interesting to me that in almost every single endeavor in life, or from a secular perspective, the state, we are required to go through some sort of education process or training to enter into serious things. So you can't go into a job without having done specific schooling. They expect certain subjects or degrees, etc., from you before you enter a certain job. In other words, you have to qualify and gain the knowledge and the application of knowledge first. If it is you want to drive a vehicle, you have to get specific knowledge before you go into that. And that knowledge helps you to understand the risks and the rewards involved. You can reach quickly. You have a certain sense of comfort because you're in your own vehicle, but you also have to follow the road laws because if you drive faster, speed kills more than anything else, you know? So the faster you drive, the less control you have of your car. All these things we learn. But when it comes into interpersonal relationships, we don't have things like that. So for example, persons go into marriage without going through counseling first. Oh, I'm not seeing that any chat had nothing to do with me. So persons may go into a marriage without any counseling. Or teenagers, and I'm not saying this from a place of being self-righteous. I'm saying this from I fallen, not victim, I don't consider myself a victim. But I fallen for the same error too when I was all the age, right? But we basically feel, well, the only requirements for romantic relationships is feelings. and we have no idea about what to go into it expecting. So like I was talking to my Form 6, I think it was at my Form 6 I was saying this. As like a simple thing, right? Sex education in school is primarily related to the physical risks involved of teenage pregnancy or STIs and STDs, etc. But nobody speaks about the emotional ramification for males and females by engaging in specific types of sexual activity or certain types of activities, actually. You understand? And unfortunately, many youth get their lies on the internet and on the media. They get it from the influential persons who... Yes, Lionel. Welcome to week's classes. They get it from the influential persons who may have an ulterior motive that may be selfish or not really beneficial to you. You know? So that is, it's just interesting now by that. And everything in life, we just have to go through some kind of training or apprenticeship or something to be able to actually go into the endeavor. But when we're talking about romantic relationships, it don't happen so. Well, the thing about experience is that while it is the best way to learn, it's also the hardest way to learn. That is our next thing that nobody don't talk about. So wisdom entails that you learn from not from your own experiences, but you learn from the experiences of others as well. You don't say, well, I have to go through it to know, when somebody that went through it and seeking your best interest telling you before. You understand? Wisdom, that's where the wisdom comes in. Application of knowledge. You know, I don't think my mother will tell me this for me to get hurt or in a serious detrimental situation, etc. So I think I should take her advice on this one. You understand? As opposed to now, experience is the... Instead of saying experience is the best teacher, let me experience it for myself. Right? So, some life lessons incorporated. Good evening, Nicola. I'm seeing Nicola joined us as well. Many new persons joined. Thank you, Marcia. You see, all of that zone out for the good things, but for the couture, all of that be right there. Is this my friend Nicola Kwong Sing? If it is, welcome. What is that, the friend Nicola? Is that child? The camera was on. Oh, shucks. Nice. So we continuing, guys. So these are the object pronouns, as I was saying, right? Well, brother, I don't know how you would make out in my classes, nah? Ah, boy, look the disciples and them preaching on we have. Jordan has been subjected to 2 years of this, so he understands. Right? Indirect object pronouns, as we said, instead of answering who or what, to whom or for what, right? And Marcia put the answer in the chat rightfully. Marcia put the answer in the chat rightfully. It goes before the conjugated verb. It goes before the conjugated verb. Nice? The object pronouns goes before the conjugated verb. If the verb is not conjugated, we put it afterwards and we attach it. Nice? I tell him the truth, le digo la verdad. I say the truth to him or for him. Les traigo el menú, I bring them the menu. I bring the menu to them or for them. Me lanza la pelota. Lanza, he throws la pelota, the ball, to me. Me lanza la pelota. So once again, right? And back to the example I was given. I'm going to hot up all the head a little bit, right? Just a little bit, right? So yo compré la cartera, una cartera para mi madre. I bought, so it will be la compré para mi mamá. Meaning I bought for my mom the bag. Nice? La compré para mi mamá. In other words, we replace the direct object there, right? DO, direct object. We may want to replace the indirect object alone. So, le compre. I bought una cartera. Le compré una cartera. I bought a handbag for her. Her here referring to my mom. But what about if we want to replace, yes, this is the salo thing. What about if we want to replace the two of them? Both the la and the le. In other words, we have two object pronouns in a sentence, and both of them are third person. They are the lo or la or the le form. Whenever we have both direct and indirect object pronouns in a sentence, listen carefully, and both of them are to be replaced, the indirect object pronoun le becomes se. So if you wanted to replace both, it will become se la compre. Meaning, I bought it, they're referring to la cartera. Se is referring to para mi mamá. Se la compre. Yes, Dashani, yes. I apologize. It is getting worse. So let me go over that one more time. I bought a bag for my mom. Compré una cartera para mi madre. I bought, I is the subject, bought is the verb, a bag is the direct object. It answers the question who or what. Yes, this is for the plural too. For my mom, the indirect object answers to or for whom. So watch. We want to replace, in this first sentence, we want to replace only the direct object. So we will get compré para mi mamá. I bought for my mom. La cartera is replaced by la, goes before the conjugated verb. So that's how we come with la compré para mi mamá. I bought for my mom la it. I bought it for my mom. It referring to una cartera. Next, we say no. We want to keep the direct object pronoun. We want to keep una cartera, but we want to replace the indirect object pronoun para mi madre. So, we know that both him and her is replaced by le. So, le compre una cartera. But if we want to replace both the direct object and the indirect object in a sentence, and the indirect object and the direct object are both the third person forms. In other words, both of them are both either lo, la, and le, or los, las, and les. They are the third person form. When the two of them are the same, both third person for direct object and indirect object, singular or plural, the indirect, the los or the las or the les, is replaced by the word se, by the pronoun se. So that is why we come and we have here, se la compré. I bought it, referring to la cartera. Se is referring to for my mom. Who's this person with the orange string that message? And I don't know the name. All I'm saying is that Alexa?
No, sir.
Who's that with the orange background, boy? I ain't seen you. Alrighty then. Nice. So, as I say, take your time, go over and over and over and over again, right? So those are the object pronouns. And we have some reminders here. We went through all of these over the course of the last 10 weeks. Functions, and you have a link to get the functions from the syllabus, right? We need to know these functions, especially for the directed situations. We need to know, right, read situations carefully, the contextual dialogue. As always, pay attention to word limit, use the cues. They appear in the order, there should be any blank spaces. So just some reminders here of things that we actually went through over the last couple of weeks. We have a sample letter here as well I did for you all of this, right? So we're moving now to the quiz, right up to the quiz, right? Moving right on to the quiz. Once again, overall winner of the quiz is receiving a hoodie. Quintessential language learning hoodie, right? You see where the little writing underneath as well. We'll even include your name on the sleeve. So the winner is receiving one like this. If the winner is somebody that is not in Trinidad and Tobago, I feel I'll start to offer the hoodies for sale now. The reason why I haven't been offering the hoodies for sale is because they are generally expensive. So I may offer it for sale without making any profit at all. Right? You know, people that sell merch for profit. If I sell any hoodies, it ain't gonna be for profit. Nice? So we'll work out something. You just had to order and we organize. What y'all think about that for the persons that have been asking? I think Josue had asked me. Josue, you were the person that asked me, correct? Right.
Yes.
Nice. So don't worry yourself, we'll put something in place. So for the people on YouTube, for the people on Zoom, we're going into our quiz. Kimani, you have a question?
Take it, just scroll up so I can see the code, please.
No problem. A lot of persons joined today, and basically what happened is this. Basically what happened is that we, from week 6 to week 10, we had at the end of class, well, since before that we were having it at the end of class, but we basically say from week 6 to 10 we do a tally to see who's the winner of the hoodie, right? We have a hoodie that we're giving away at the end of it all. So I know some persons join late, etc. later on, but yeah. Because a lot of persons join later on, I will have to include some other giveaways. So look out for that if you're not following on the socials already. Everybody in, tell me when we can begin. Zachariah, no faith in yourself, man.
23 of us here.
Yeah, man, so we good then.
I'm missing a few, but that's not gonna amount it.
Pops. So ideally there should be 27 persons in the quiz.
Oh well, 4 missing.
Yeah, no, well, yeah. Because Angela and I won't be participating, 29 persons here. Oh, you'll see. So we're doing a countdown in 20. After the countdown, we're going to begin whoever's there. In 20, 19, 18. Javier? Good, we start already like the thing countdown. Stop it. All right, let's go. I'm a money and Marcia. If I were a betting man. All right, we see the young ones out in front. A tie for first place between Azaria and Alexa. Shania and Aliyah is tied in second place with Zachariah right behind them, also tied, going neck and neck. Let's see if anything will be different. But Kimani has just overtaken everybody, representing for the boys in blue, QRC. Can we see if one of the saints in the light blue will overtake him, or maybe somebody else? Would we have our wonderful friend from Malik doing the best that she can and coming out best again? Or will it be Javier, who is joining us from elsewhere, from YouTube, I believe? Zachariah is back in front again. Josue is in shock that he's not in the top contention. But Chloe is leading the pack, ladies and gentlemen, just overtaken by Zachariah. Chloe tied in second place with Javier. Will Javier overtake her? Alexa has just come from behind when nobody was expecting, with Chloe holding up the number 3 spot. Marcia, don't forget about Marcia. Don't discount Marcia. Marcia's in the number 4 position, but can she overtake based on points? Javier has just pipped Chloe, but he has just been pipped back by Chloe for the second spot. Alexa's holding on position number 4 steadily. Azaria's just inching her way up with the Shani right behind. But Zachariah has just lost his position with Chloe overtaking Zachariah. Will Javier come forward? Will he drop some points? Will he make a lead? Will Marcia, against when no one was thinking, make a last stride for the last run? But Jordan is in the mix. How could we forget Jordan and Javier? Chloe is there as well, holding up the number 1 position, and she doesn't seem like she intends to let go. Cyan is just pipping a couple persons for the number 6 spot, but we have a 1, 2, 3 position of Chloe, Javier, and Zachariah in that order. And number 4 spot has just been overtaken by Jordan, who was just pipped by Alexa. Chloe holding up the number 1 spot, but Javier, have no fear, for here is Javier. He has overtaken the number 1 spot, guys. Chloe is holding the number 2 spot unless she can come and pip him back based on points. Zachariah seems resolute in holding on that number 3 spot. Will he overtake? Will Jordan overtake him? I spoke just in time because Jordan did overtake him. Darren is in number 6. Javier is joining the chat to beat his chest. Chloe is holding the number 2 spot. Will she overtake? Chloe has just overtaken Javier. Oh my gosh, Jordan. Jordan. Will he do like his namesake and be the GOAT? Or will he bear to second spot? Yo, like cracking myself up. I am ridiculously still. My gosh. All right, we are Chloe number 1, Darren in number 2. Who will be number 3? Javier holds the number 3 spot at the moment, but Jaquita seems to have a mission on her mind, and she is slowly coming up. But we have some others who are holding down the spots and they're coming up. Yes, Shania Renee. Don't discount Shania Renee. Remember Shania Renee from past classes? She has come back with a vengeance today because she has in mind to win a hoodie. If I'm not mistaken, she's in the lead with points as well. Multi-answer questions hurt. That's fine. Let these things hurt you now and not in the exam. Those multi-answer questions will make you remember even better. Chloe is holding on the number 1 spot, with Darren in second place. And Jaquita holding on to number 2 with Darren. Shania Renee is in 3rd. Tatiana's rejoining us, guys. Yeah, change it up a bit. Quizzes have a new feature and I included it. So the focus needed to be extra special today. Jordan is holding on to number 5 spot. Shania Renee, I feel we are going to the leaderboard after. At least you all participated. Joel, you letting Chloe take that up from you? You have some banter in the chat, guys. Are we finished yet? No? Marcia, you make me lose my money, girl. Where's Marcia? Yes, boy. Joel, girl. Mox have us a little rusty. Coming first next time. All right. Have you come with his chest being beaten? Come beating his chest. All right. Some persons may have either joined late or they have internet connectivity.
So, me shame. If I see rubbish, me shame. I'm feeling to cry.
Oh gosh. All right, let's scroll back up to the top. We may have to end it now. And based on ending it now, what does our leaderboard look like? In third place, who do we have in third place? Improved student retention by 9. In third place, Darren. Second, Jakaira. In first place,
A female?
Chloe. Huh?
That a female, right?
Yes.
Boop, big up you one time.
Miss Lady, your mic is very loud. I'd just be here getting frightened as be like, yo, where does it come from? The Shani, so big up. We have two girls in the lead in first and in second place. Shania Renee is leading the points. Shania Renee. Lenil and Genesis didn't take part today, I believe. Lionel, what's your scene, mate?
Well, I took part, so you're trying to embarrass me.
No, well, I didn't see nothing. I ain't trying to embarrass you. But I just tell you there's only 1,000. Oh, against the females, yo. Look, Genesis is 1,000 odd points behind. So the point I was trying to make is that persons have been coming up in the lead. Yeah? Some persons miss quizzes. I find, if I'm being honest with you, right, persons had asked if we could allow them to do over the past quizzes.
Yes, sir. Would you allow that?
No, I made an executive decision that no. Because I need to honor the persons that have been here from the start and have been here every week doing the quizzes. It would be unfair, especially since I know some of the persons that have been asking for the quiz to be done over. I'm not calling no names, Jordan, but some of them are persons from my personal. I'm Jordan. We're not calling names, Jordan, huh? But I know it's people from my class who I tell about this before they are published on the World Wide Webs. And they had the opportunity to join. Right? So I feel like if it's unfair now, boy, to Shania Renee and Genesis and Lenil, who have been here diligently from since even before quiz number 6, I feel like that's unfair to them now, boy. And in the spirit of equity and equality, big up the girls, Joel. I think it would be in the best.
One time. You don't know.
I think it would be in the best interest to not do that, but to leave, because you all have been here from, if not the first class, from the very early, even before week 6. So, remember, guys, there's a link in the chat where you can do practice quizzes throughout the week, throughout the different weeks, right? Remember as well that we have the Discord where all of this stuff, the notes and the videos are being shared. We have the WhatsApp group chat as well. Remember that we will resume. We're taking a little break and we're coming back. I feel we're looking at the 8th of April. That is the first Saturday of the Easter holiday. I think that is the day we will look at. Let week's man take a little rest now, boy. You know? Next week I have marks due for school. The following week again. So I'm taking a little rest and we're coming right back at it with the free classes. Persons have been asking if it will be free again. Guys, this has been done since 2020. I've been doing the free classes. I met Angeli through these free classes, right? So it's now come thing. I have been doing it free for the past 3 years. Last year we teamed up with NALIS, the National Libraries and Information Systems. Deshani is asking what about CAPE? Deshani, are you in Form 6 by chance? Are you doing CAPE? Deshani, I want to, I've been absolutely honest with you. I would like to, and I was in the process of making a decision, but I wouldn't have the time to do CAPE this year, to be honest with you. However, this same kind of thing was done previous years for CAPE. So if it is your go on Quintessential Language Learning on YouTube, and when I get a chance, to just plug the link. If you go there and look through our videos, you will see the past videos when we did this same kind of thing for CAPE. classes on Monday. Gracias, Marcia, por su apoyo. Pues por estar aquí con nosotros, animándonos, dándonos, pues, todo el soporte que nos está dando. Gracias, mil gracias por todo. Aliyah, can you message specifically what you're referring to, please? I'm not sure. So we will resume on Saturday I want to say the 1st, I want to say the 1st of April. But
What? It go 1st of April?
Nah, I need to take the 2 weeks, right? I need to spend some more time with my family and stuff, guys, right? So resume on Saturday, the 8th of April, right? I'll go out with the family, take out small man and thing a little bit. April Fools, no. Right, so we resume on Saturday, the 8th of April. And my sister's birthday. Big up you. Little big sis. Yeah, big up yourself if you ever see this. Surf field trip. Gracias por todo el conocimiento. De nada, Kimani. Zachariah, hear the funny thing, right? I actually planning a field trip with some students. Actually planning a field trip. No, we're not going to Venezuela. We're not going to Mexico. Yeah. So that is that basically. Maturín, no, queremos irnos a Margarita, la isla de Margarita, pero los precios ahora son muy, muy altos. St. Mary's College, Kimani, that I was getting all that talk as a student and I'm a teacher there now. Okay, Aliyah, now understand. Aliyah, message me on this number and we could talk about what you request. About what you ask. Brother man, I'm laughing with all my teaching people on them Zoom and YouTube. Kimani say, oh, Gid. And I read that and I read that. Hace 15 años. Margarita, pues, mira, la cosa interesante es que el único país hispanohablante o el único lugar hispanohablante que yo he visitado fue Margarita. For the persons that are wondering what I'm saying, Marcia and I are having a chat totalmente en español. I was explaining to her that no, por avión, Rutaca. Margarita is the only Spanish-speaking place, island, country I've ever visited. I particularly take pride in that. Being, if you want to call me conceited for once, I particularly take pride in that because my level of fluency has not been gained through traveling. So in other words, I am a living example that you don't have to live in a Spanish-speaking country or in a foreign country to be able to become bilingual. The last test I did was in 2019. There's a test called CLA, and I got the grade of level C1 Spanish. That is lower advanced. There's A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. The C2's hard. I want to do them C2 exams in maybe November this year. I might do it. I wanted to do it now, but I can't because of CXC. But basically, is based on Spain, the Institute, Cervantes Institute in Spain, testing your bilingual ability. And that's one of the things I actually take pride in, that I have been able to achieve that without living in a Spanish-speaking country. The longest I've stayed in any Spanish-speaking country is 5 days and 4 nights. So yeah. Yes. Big up C1 weeks. Yes. So persons are considering doing Spanish for Form 6. I would always encourage it, of course, as a language teacher. But I understand that at times there are circumstances that don't allow persons to I understand that many times there are circumstances that don't allow persons to do Spanish at CAPE level because of the other subject choices that they have. And there are other ways to become bilingual outside of doing a degree in Spanish or CAPE Spanish. Yes, there is literature, Jordan. Shani asked me a question before. I can't remember if I answer, huh? I did. It's torture. It's beautiful, actually. I love literature. That was the best choice I made ever in life, to study literature. So, sir, how long did it take you to become so awesome at Spanish? Yeah, man, I already don't like how many poems we had to do in lit. Every time people ask me how long it take me to become bilingual, Lionel, I always tell them 22 years. Well, I tell them the length of time from present time to when I was in secondary school, when I was met with the language for the first time. So from Form 1 till now is 22 years. So to be able to speak like this, that is how long I took, 22 years. Right? And I make sure and stress that because many people think that learning a foreign language is like doing some kind of business course, or they think it's a course where you just acquire knowledge and you're able to apply the knowledge immediately. Learning language is a skill and it takes time to develop that skill. So for example, I would have done my degree in Spanish and I had my degree in hand and I made the very deliberate decision that I'm not going to stop. Don't say that, Marcia. I made a very deliberate decision that I'm not going to stop learning because I have a degree in hand. So I used to do very deliberate things to continue learning the language. I used to go to conferences and stuff. So one of my past lecturers used to host something like every last Thursday of the month. I was the first student to present in that. I was absolutely horrible, but I allowed myself to go through the process. I used to volunteer as interpreter and translator for different things. I was ridiculously horrible. It's the most embarrassing moment ever in my life, was interpreting for a Cuban dance company and not knowing if they're speaking English, Spanish, Yoruba. I couldn't tell based on some of the specific words being used. And when 2017, 1 year into teaching, when I realized, when I had that experience, no, I'm being serious, it was dance words, etc. So a lot of the things were linked to traditional Orisha and that sort of religion and stuff. So I'm not saying Yoruba to be funny, it's actual Yoruba words, etc. Right? After that experience, I made the decision that I'm not listening to any English music anymore. And for the greater part of a year, I only listened to music in Spanish. And no, I didn't hear the new Shakira song. And as a result of that, my listening improved drastically. My rhythm of speaking improved drastically. For the past 5 years, exactly 5 years in January, I have been interpreting in my church. We started a ministry for migrants, Cuban, Venezuelan migrants in the Arima community. So every Sunday, or almost every Sunday, with very few exceptions for the past 5 years, I am either speaking or translating in Spanish. And all of this is part of me deliberately putting myself in situations to improve any language. In the early days when I now started, 30 minutes of interpretation, I used to have to sit down for like 45 minutes because my brain used to feel fried, literally fried. It takes energy from you. You might think you're just speaking, but it takes from you. That's why interpreters are paid so much money. Now, I can do it and go about my day like normal. But in the early days, thinking on the spot and speaking and saying something while you're thinking and you're trying to figure out something 2 steps ahead, yeah, it's no, I'm being real with you all. I'm not trying to I ain't trying to show off, but it is a difficult thing. But I'm saying all of this to say that don't feel that you could come last minute and be good in the language. When I was a student, every single week before lessons, I used to read over what we did the week before, weeks before. Every morning, I used to read 5-10 minutes of Spanish. So that is why I am the person that you see today. So when people ask me how long, that is why I can say for the past 22 years. Understand? And not 10 years ago when I had my degree in hand, etc. You have to make up your mind to dedicate yourself to the thing. That's how languages work. I'm not saying that it will take everybody 22 years to reach proficiency. You could go and study the language and live in a country and get proficiency in 6 months. I'm being honest with you. But I remember my situation. I never traveled and lived in another country. So I've put myself into positions deliberately, as uncomfortable and embarrassing as it might have been. I've deliberately put myself in situations to be uncomfortable, and when you're uncomfortable, you grow. So yeah. No need to be scared, Lionel. As a matter of fact, almost all of you all could be fluent in Spanish before you're 18. Yesterday I was talking to a teacher in my school, he speaks biology, and he had won a scholarship. He loves Spanish, he didn't do it for Form 6. But when he was in Form 6, he did it in the Venezuelan embassy and he became fluent. So we just rambling now for the whole world to see. Yes, Jordan, I will answer a question. I am one of the teachers that will admit Spanish in Form 6. I think at times I feel like if it's an unrealistic jump. I think with most subject areas, you go deeper into the same topics that you would have done at Csec level. So in bio, you do some of the same subject matter that you do in Form 5, but you go deeper in physics, in business, etc. But with Spanish, you move to almost totally different topics, and it's a huge step. So I feel, and I'm saying this not based on my opinion, but over the years asking students, I've had students that have mixed Spanish with business subjects like econ. They have mixed it with environmental and bio. They have mixed it with pure and applied maths. They have mixed studying Spanish with so many different things, with PE at Form 6. And every single time, a student was with IT, with computer science, they just always say the same thing. The hardest transition was Spanish. And if si tuviera el poder, lo cambiaría. If I had the power, I would change it. I would make students write the exam at the end of 2 years every time, because it takes time to develop the skill that is necessary. So me as a teacher, I am forced to try and prepare you for your exam and develop your proficiency at the same time. And that is where the difficulty lies. Yes. And Zachariah, some of the words in the book, you can't find it in a dictionary. This is a horrible marketing campaign, eh? But it's one of the most rewarding things you will ever do. I can promise you that. It's one of the most rewarding things you will ever do. Ever, ever, ever. So I will encourage anybody to do Spanish at Form 6, but you need to have, if you have a 1 or 2 in CXC, in Spanish and or English literature, I wouldn't encourage you to do it, to be honest. But if you have a 1 or 2, a high 2, like 2 A's and a C, I could encourage you to do it in, I will encourage you to do it at Form 6, but yeah. There are certain skills that need to be developed beforehand. So expecting to see men like Jordan, men like Joshua Cummins, men like Zachariah in Form 6 in my school, yeah? And some more of you all. Guys, I could speak whole night if you give me the chance, right? So, without anything further, nice, Marcia. Unless we have any further questions, let us end off here tonight. Please, before we go, Well, as a matter of fact, Angela, can you please, on the Discord, on the WhatsApp group, post our socials so that people could stay in contact as well. They could see the ads, etc. I'm listening, Joshua, before we leave.
Mock exams, Kirk, sir.
No, sir. Get away, as my son says.
See, start correcting it also.
No, I didn't start actually. I'm finishing up some. Why now say I say no, get away. I'm finishing up some things with lower school, boy. So I really can't focus on it right now. Good night, everybody. It was a wonderful having you all. Big up yourself, Joel.
Good night.
Later.
Yeah, good night, take care.
Take care, man.